Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel or our channel. Hey everybody, and welcome back to our channel. So I've been asked a couple questions from different people who just I guess have been following our story and everything. And a question came up about homeschooling and why I no longer homeschool and how I felt things was going. So January. Um, Well, back in December, me and Tristan decided to re enroll our children back into the public school system. Part of the reason for doing that was because I was pregnant and exhausted and overwhelmed as a mother, and we felt as though our kids needed a little bit more of instruction that I could give them at the time. So this pregnancy that I just had with TJ was very hard on my body. So I was sick, dealt with morning sickness pretty much my entire pregnancy, battled with diabetes and high blood pressure, and I was most days completely exhausted and just not feeling my best. And as a result, in my opinion, I was not able to push my children as hard as I needed to push them as far as their schoolwork was concerned. So I decided to send them back to public school, and it was a very hard decision because we're in the midst of a pandemic. Because I love my children, and it's for me it's easier to have them home. I mean, I love to educate them at home, even with all of my struggles, um, even with the struggles with my eyes. Um, I love to use different forms of educating my children as far as life experiences and hands-on learning, and not just these things that are just in a book. So we decided to send them back to public school. So now let's fast forward. That was December. We sent them back in January. And let's fast forward to now. We have 2 days left in this school year. And I am honestly over it. Teachers are awesome, administrators are awesome, but the public school system is not for me and my children. Like it's a very very big challenge um, for us, and I know that homeschooling is what my children need. But I also know that they do need to socialize and be around other children. So I'm definitely not going to stop them from doing that. But I feel like the best education for my children is the education that I can give them, that Tristan can give them at home. And that's not to take anything away from the teachers, administrators, um, the other employees of the county, of the school system. That's not to take anything away from them because they are awesome. Let me just say that off top, that these are individuals who are selfless, who are putting themselves on the back burner every single day to educate our children. So this is not to take anything away from educators, but I do feel like for me and my children, it's best for me to do in at home education. Um, so what's next? The plan is we're still trying to figure it out. We're figuring it out. Like we're going to use this summer to reevaluate things in our life, to have conversations, to um, have an opportunity to talk to the children one-on-one, to get feedback from the educators, to get feedback from the children. Um, I know that they all have different styles of learning, and I think to me that probably was the hardest thing this school year, is because every to me things in the public school system is so cookie cutter, and not every child learns the same. So some of our children struggled um, in the public school system with things that they did not struggle with at home. And some kids excelled in the public school system with things that they did not excel at home. And I'm just like, wow. But I will take this as a learning opportunity for myself, for Tristan, so that we can make better decisions when it comes to educating them. So now what? We have started to look at curriculums and planning to decide on what's next. I don't think that virtual learning would be an option for this upcoming school year, but I don't know. It could be, but I still feel as though, well, I will say this: I feel as though part of the hustle, the bustle, and everything that's going on with COVID, I believe that it was just not a good time to put them back into the public school system because everything was already rocky. Um, but number one, above all, I realized that, as much as parents have to fuss and redirect and discipline and teach and reevaluate, and as much as parents have to, I miss my children. Like with them being gone all day, even though that is a break, whew, Lord Jesus, that is a break for me. But I came to realize that, hey, I really miss my children. Like them being gone at that, those couple of hours. And then dealing with behavior issues at school. Um, because I have a child that's on the spectrum, and because we're still in it's the whole IEP thing is a process, and because all this is a process, to me, there was a little bit of singling out going on, and I never want to point fingers at him and make him feel as though you're the bad child, you're the bad child, you're the bad child, which in reality you're not. You just learn different. You receive information different. You respond differently. And as adults, we are the ones who have to do the adjusting to make sure that we give you what you need to succeed. So that's my outlook for him is, and I'm learning. I'm learning to be a better mother, a better teacher, a better friend, a better guide. When it comes to that as well. So we're looking at curriculum, trying to make decisions on what we're going to use. This upcoming school year for 2021-2022, we will have a 8th grader. No, let me start over. We'll have a 9th grader, a 8th grader, a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, 2 2nd graders, and a 1st grader. So we'll have 7 children, which is a challenge within itself. And that's something else that we're trying to evaluate for the summer, is because to me, the biggest challenge with homeschooling over the last year uh, was the toddler, was making sure that the toddler is entertained, that the toddler has um, um, resources, activities to do, that a toddler is busy working with their hand and using their minds, and then still feeling involved and not feeling as though, no, I just got to constantly sit down or do this or go away, because it's hard to teach XYZ child when you're dealing with a toddler. So that's something that I have to figure out, because not only do I have one toddler, but I have two toddlers and an infant. So I have to figure that out. And that's going to be a challenge within itself. So um, that's something else that we're having to reevaluate. We're also trying to reevaluate our school room at the house. The school room has moved from the den to the living room to part of the kitchen. Um, right now, everything school related was broken down and stored away because the kids went back to public school. So we're gonna, as we're wrapping up renovation in one part of the house and trying to get things situated, by hopefully by that time in August, we'll be getting ready to um, get the homeschool room situated. So we're leaning towards doing no or as minimum electronics as possible, because what I saw with my kids going back to school this year is that they took, my older two children took complete advantage of the internet access, with being lazy about doing assignments, with wanting to Google assignments and not want to put forth effort, which having too much access, because let me tell you guys that there is so much out there. And I'm just going to be honest with you. Our children don't need to have full internet access. They don't need to deal with the social medias, and they don't need to be having the email and going back and forth with people in the classroom, because then you're dealing with bullying, you're dealing with inappropriate content, you're dealing with a child who's 100% not focused on their schoolwork. They're focused on the sidebar conversations, and then you're just having to a child that's given so much at their fingertips that they don't know what to focus on. So instead of focusing on schoolwork, we're doing everything else, and the schoolwork is not getting done. And I saw that a lot with my 7th and 8th grader this year. So we've had conversations with them, and they know that we are going to take a major step back when it comes to internet access. So we're not really sure about which curriculum we're going to use with them, but we do know that for the most part, we want it to be flat out the old-fashioned way. Books, pencil, paper. Yes, they're going to have, we have 5, 6 computers in the house. Yes, they're going to have internet access, but it's going to be at the appropriate time, and it's going to be monitored. So we're looking at the plain old curriculum for them. We're still waiting. I'm trying to look at the state and see what they're going to do. As far as requirements for homeschool, as far as things that they're going to update for the year, to make sure that we are making sure that we are in line and doing what they are requiring us to do, to be what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, to make sure that we're doing what the state has asked us to do. We're in compliance with what the state has required for homeschool. So I'm still waiting to look at updates for that. And then we'll just go from there and see what happens. But some of the things that I think that I'm interested in for curriculums. I'm looking at the good and the beautiful. I've looked at Evan Moore spelling. I've looked at handwriting by the good and the beautiful. Of course, we love teaching textbooks at this house, but I'm also am interested in both Saxon and Singapore. So I'm looking at those things. But the thing is, with my eyes, there are so many struggles already, and I can only do so much. So I'm having to rely on Tristan to go back and research things and look at things and tell me what he thinks about this, or if he thinks this is a good fit for this child, to do some placement tests to see where they fall at, to make sure that we're not creating gaps in that child's education, as well as we're not um, causing any delays or causing that child to regress. So we're doing that. But like I said, the good and the beautiful, Singapore, Saxton, teaching textbooks, where we have always had a Bible curriculum that will not change. We have always incorporated home economics as far as cooking. I have a child who has asked me about sewing in the last 2 days. I have one child who has requested piano as an elective this year. I have a child who has inquired about Spanish, another child who has inquired about French. So we'll make sure that we do our best to provide for all of those interests that are out there, because you never know what that may lead to with the different children. As well as make sure we hit all those core subjects, and that so if we decide that we want to try public school again 3-4 years down the road, that the children can test and be in our right grade, and which is what happened this last time. Our children were able to test in, and they all tested test on target, and they were able to go to the right grade. So we're hoping to stick with that. I do have one child who had some pretty rough struggles this past school year. One thing about me is I'm not hung up on the grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 2nd grade, 1st grade. I'm not hung up on the grade. I'm not hung up on that number. For me, is making sure that the child gets what they need to succeed. So even if that means in some subjects going down a grade and starting with the basics and then rebuilding up. I feel like with 2 of my children that I need to go back and look at spelling concepts and reading concepts and those basic, very, very basics, and go back there and start fresh so that we can build up on and then introduce other things. So what will we be doing this summer? This summer, we more than likely will be starting school early. I do have one child who will be going to summer school in the public school system, and we're going to let him do that and finish that out. But I've been looking at different things online that I can order and get here within the next week or so. And then hopefully we'll be able to start summer school or start our school year early. I really think that it's going to get down to us being the type of family who schools year round, because we are all about our December Christmas breaks. Christmas is my holiday, and we take off for 2-3 weeks in December, so we can make up for some of that in June, July. So yeah, so that's where I am. I just wanted to do a quick video. Yes, homeschool mom. I sent my kids to public school and they're coming back out. It just did not work for us, for me, for them. So yeah, we're going back to the old-fashioned way of doing things. And I say that because, people call me an old soul. I really do believe that I am an old soul. I am just plain Jane. Like, I enjoy the basic things in life. Like, I don't have to have all of the fancy this and that and expensive cars and expensive jewelry and the most lavish house. And, you know, I'm just me. And I tell people all the time, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Take it up with God. He made me. But, people are going to have their opinions about this, about the fact that we're going to homeschool again. I'm telling you guys, people are so opinionated. And my husband has had to remind me, stop worrying. He told me today, you care too much about what people think. Stop worrying about what people think. As long as you're pleasing God and you're doing what you feel is right, don't worry about it. And I thank him for that. My husband is like a million words. If I had a million tongues, I still could not say enough, because he builds me up. He holds me up. He corrects me. He guides me, and he's just an awesome person. He's very quiet, but to know him is to love him. He may not say a lot of things, and you may disagree with that, or because he's so quiet, but that's his personality. Like, who are we to judge a person for who God created them to be? But that's just him, and he's just an awesome person. And I don't know, but that's it. That's what I just want to get on here, chit chat it up about being a homeschool mom, giving up on homeschool, now pulling back to homeschool. And so we're about to homeschool with 10 kids. So, yeah. But we need a break. So we're going to take maybe 2 weeks of just chill time, of relaxing, of sleeping late, of going to bed late, of relaxing all day, Netflixing it out, of playing all day long, no school, don't even think about books, no reading. We're going to take us a break before Tristan goes back to work and just relax. Then after that, we're going to hit it hard. COVID has caused a deficit in everywhere around the whole world in so many different aspects, and that's including education. So we're going to just try to fill in those gaps, do the best we can, take it one day at a time, and that's all we can do. So yeah, and I keep squinting because my tablet is a little bit in front of me, not very far, but all I see is a big blur. So I'm just squinting, trying to see. Yeah. But anyway, that's it. It's late. I'm about to go get in the bed and hopefully get about 30 minutes to an hour nap, because the baby's going to wake up to be fed in a little bit. And yeah, that's where we are. But y'all have a good night. Be blessed. And look forward to another video at another time. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one.